Hello, my name is Chloe, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing to you my TBR for the Vampire Diaries Readathon. So if you have somehow managed to miss me talking about this readathon because I've been talking everyone's ear off about it, this is the month-long readathon I am hosting in September, which is based around the world of the Vampire Diaries, the locations, the story, and our lovely kind of main characters. Let's ignore the one main character, but our kind of main characters, Damon and Stefan Salvatore. So I will be contributing to Team Damon, and I'm very excited to win as many prompts as humanly possible with these books. I'm also planning on reading more than the 10 prompts during the month because every book counts, even when you've already completed the prompts. So I'm going to try and read as much as possible, but I didn't want to bring you every single book I was considering, otherwise we'd be here a long time. I won't go through the specifics of every prompt, so please do go and check out my announcement video. I will leave it linked down in the description, which will give you all the information you need. But for now, I will focus on the 10 prompts and what I'm going to read for those. Please do ignore me if I sound a bit like choked up and stuffy. I'm not feeling fantastic, and I don't know why that is. So yeah, if I struggle to talk, that's why. If I sound a bit nasal. Okay. The first prompt is The Clock Tower, and that is to read a book with a supernatural element. So I'm going to be reading Angel Fever by L.A. Weatherly. I forgot to say at the start, because I talked about this in the announcement video, you do not have to read vampire books for all of these prompts until we get to the last prompt, but that's a different thing. So I am not limiting myself to vampires or even horror or even supernatural, just anything that fits the prompts, and you will see how varied that gets as we go through. So we're starting off with a supernatural book because of the prompt. Angel Fever is the third book in the Angel series by L.A. Weatherly. I started reading these books in about 2012. I've read the first book twice, the second one once last year, and we're finally getting around to book 3 in this trilogy. I don't know how much I can tell you about the book without spoiling anything from the first or second, but we're following Willow is our main character, and she finds out that angels are invading Earth and taking over basically, and will she lead the fight to reclaim Earth for humanity? It sounds completely over the top, and that's because it is. I absolutely loved the first book. I even loved it on reread. I really enjoyed the second, so I'm hoping I can enjoy this, finish off the trilogy, and it just happens to be nearly 600 pages, so thinking of the points. Next up, we have The Mystic Grill, and that is to read a book with a friendship. So I've gone for The Return by Rachel Harrison. The cover is actually on the back because this is an ARC copy from 2020. I've not had it that long, I just acquired the ARC afterwards. How much would you give up for your best friend? Her best friend disappeared, a stranger came back. So that is the only reason I picked this one for friendship. I literally saw on the cover, her best friend. Take it, it counts for the prompt. So I won't read the full blurbs out of any of these books because I don't want to keep you here for ages with just me reading blurbs, but some of them I don't know much about, so we're gonna have to. So this says, Julie is missing, and the missing don't often return. But Elise knows Julie better than anyone, and she feels in her bones that her best friend is still out there. She's right. 2 years to the day that Julie vanished, she reappears with no memory of what happened to her. Along with Molly and May, their 2 close friends from college, the women decide to reunite at the eccentric, remote Red Honey Inn. But the second Elise sees Julie, she knows something is wrong. She's emaciated, with sallow skin, chipped teeth, and odd appetites. In so many ways, Julie seems to be the friend they all loved and lost, but in others, she seems to be a stranger. So I've been putting this off for so long, and I've now got another of Rachel Harrison's books. I still haven't read this one, so I wanted to read this first and hopefully love it. We will see, because I would love to, you know, keep this arc and cherish it, but there's no point me keeping... Okay, it is 350 pages. It looks bigger than 350. There's no point me keeping this book on my shelves forever if I'm not going to love it, so I just need to finally get to it. Next up, we have Mystic Falls High School, which I am repping the football team's merch for. But the high school prompt is to read a book with a school setting. I am going for The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. So this wasn't actually my original pick for this prompt, but this was the pick for our Patreon buddy read this month. We picked out a handful of books that would relate to the readathon prompt so that we weren't skipping prompts with the buddy read. And this one came out as winner and fits Mystic Falls High School. I think this is a good one to demonstrate because school setting, I would always automatically assume like a YA contemporary, but this one is definitely not. So this one says, Frida has fed and changed her toddler Harriet. She had a work deadline, an article to finish, a job hanging by a thread, a file she left in the office. She would go get it. Harriet would be fine, but then the neighbours heard her crying. Soon the state decides that Frida is not fit to take care of her daughter, that she must be retrained, that bad mothers everywhere must be re-educated. Will their mistakes cost them everything? So I've heard fantastic things about this and I'm really excited to read it with the patrons. Next up we have The Salvatore Boarding House, and that is to read a book with a historical element. I nearly dropped it, but I'm going to be reading The Lady Rogue by Jen Bennett. I absolutely love Jen Bennett's YA contemporary, so I knew I had to give this one a go. I don't know how much of this is actually based historically, which is what I think makes it fantastic to demonstrate the prompt, but we are looking into the history of Vlad the Impaler for one. And we start off with a journal of Richard Fox, June 18th, 1937. And our first chapter is set on November 24th, 1937 in Turkey. So I don't know if all of this is set historically, if we just have diary entries set historically, but it gives a historical vibe and that means it counts for the prompt. So this says, travelling with her treasure hunting father has always been a dream for Theodora. She's read every book in his library, wields an impressive knowledge of the world's most sought after relics, and has all the ambition in the world. What she doesn't have is her father's permission. That honour goes to his 18-year-old protege and once upon a time love of Theodora's life, Huck Gallagher, while she's left alone to sit in a hotel in Istanbul. Until Huck arrives from an expedition without her father and enlists Theodora's help in rescuing him. Armed with his travel journal, the reluctant duo learns that her father had been digging up information on a legendary ring that once belonged to Vlad the Impaler, aka the real-life Dracula, and that it might be the key to finding him. I think this sounds fantastic. There is also a map, we love a map, which is really cool because it says to Budapest, here's Romania, to Istanbul, Ukraine. Like, I don't know, I just think it sounds absolutely fantastic and yeah, hopefully well researched and fun at the same time. Next up we have The Lockwood Mansion, and for that we need to read a popular book. So I am finally reading I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. So I have wanted to read this, well I pre-ordered it, I've wanted to read it since it came out, but I seem to keep leaving it for a perfect moment. But when is the perfect moment going to be if I don't make the moment? So if you do not know, Jeanette McCurdy was a child star, mainly through Nickelodeon. She was in iCarly and also Sam and Cat, and this book looks into her childhood in fame. It says, including eating disorders, addiction, and a complicated relationship with her overbearing mother, and how she retook control of her life. I've heard it's a really powerful memoir and I can't wait to read it. I've only seen good things and I've seen a lot of good things, so definitely fits the prompt. Next up we have Wickery Bridge, and that is to read a thriller. So I'm going to read Dead Girls Don't Lie by Jennifer Shaw Wolfe. This one is definitely more of a mystery, but there is clearly a thrilling element to it. So we're following JC and Rachel, who were best friends. But that was before the terrible night at the old house, before Rachel's secret shut JC out, before JC chose Skylar over Rachel, and before Rachel was found dead. The police say Rachel's death was an accident. JC is sure it had to do with what they witnessed at the old house, which means she'll have to rehash the details from that night that they tried so hard to forget. Rachel's last text is JC's first clue, starting her on a search that leads to a shocking secret about her last night alive. But someone else is searching for clues, and he will stop at nothing to keep JC from figuring out the truth. Can JC find a way to free Rachel from the lies before suffering the same fate? And this does say it's a darkly romantic story of big-time secrets and small-town murder. And if anyone here knows, my favourite podcast is called Small Town Murder. So I'm really excited about this one. I have had it a very, very long time, and it's going to be great to finally tick it off my TBR, and it sounds really good. We're in trouble. Meet me at my house now. Don't tell your dad. Don't call the police. Don't tell anyone what you saw. Creepy. Next up is The Mystic Falls Cemetery, and that is to read a book with a dark cover. So I'm going to read The Possible by Tara Alter-Brando. You can stretch this one as much as you like, but clearly I've just gone for a mostly black cover. Not very creative with the prompt there. But this is about Kaylee. We've had JC, we've had Kaylee, wow. Lives a normal life with her adoptive parents and almost never thinks of her birth mother, Crystal, who is serving a life sentence in prison. But one day she's approached by a woman who's producing a podcast about Crystal that is about to blow Kaylee's forgotten past wide open. What if strange things have been happening Kaylee's entire life, things she could not explain? What if she's more like her mother than she ever imagined? What if the podcast is about to put her on a collision course with Crystal and her darkest self? I think this sounds really, really cool, and I love the podcast element as well. I think that's going to be fantastic. And yeah, clearly fits dark cover. Only 3 more to go, my voice is dying. Okay, so next up is The Gilbert House. So that is to read a romance, and I'm finally going to read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is another one where I've been putting it off for the longest time. I won't read the full blurb out because it is very long, but this is about Calla, who, when she was a toddler, her mother left Alaska and left her dad in Alaska and started a new life for her in, I actually don't know where, Toronto. She finds out that her dad is kind of not doing very well health-wise and that she should go and spend some time with him before he dies. So she goes back to wild, rural Alaska and she meets Jonah, who is an Alaskan pilot keeping her dad's company afloat while he's not doing good. It says he's clearly waiting with one hand on the throttle to fly this city girl back to where she belongs, convinced that she's too pampered to handle the wild. And a review on the back here says a master of steamy romance. So I'm really ready for the romance. I've had this a long time and I just keep putting it off. So now is finally the time. Next up, we have The Forbes House, and that is to read a book with a party. So I'm going to read Carrie by Stephen King. I have not had a good relationship with Stephen King, but this one is very short. So I've gone against my whole thing of trying to get points, but I do really want to get to this one. It doesn't particularly say on the back about a party, but I know from the movies and redoing the movies and redoing the books that there is prom in Carrie. So that is what I'm using as my party. It says Carrie may be picked on by her classmates, but she has a gift. She can move things with her mind. Doors lock, candles fall. This is her power and her problem. Then an act of kindness, as spontaneous as the vicious taunts of her classmates, offers Carrie a chance to be normal, until an unexpected cruelty turns her gift into a weapon of horror and destruction that no one will ever forget. Well, I have just seen a typo in the back, so I'm very confused. I flicked open, I've seen one line that is completely question marks. So I have no idea how this book is written. I'm very confused, but we'll see what happens in September. And finally, the last prompt is just Mystic Falls, and it's to read a vampire book. So I'm reading the book for my Twilight along with the patrons, and that is The Short Second Life of Brie Tanner. I couldn't have planned this worse for when we're doing the read along, because I've got a 178 page book on my TBR when I want to be getting all the points possible. So this is the book that comes alongside Eclipse in the Twilight Saga. I have read this many times, because it's so short. But yeah, it comes alongside Eclipse in the Twilight Saga, and it follows our character Brie, who is a newborn vampire created with the intention to take the Cullens down. And I really enjoy this every time I read it. It's nothing insanely special because it is so short, but it's a fun novella, and we're all going to be reading it as a Patreon, so I think I'm going to enjoy it. And there we have it. Those are the 10 books I'm definitely going to be reading as part of the Vampire Diaries Readathon. As I said, there will definitely be more. I will not be limiting myself to 10, and I will be hopefully, along with my co-host Becca, leading Team Damon to victory. Don't worry, if you are on Team Stefan, you have the lovely Naomi and Lucy, but me and Becca are going to win because I'm competitive and I want to win. So these 10 books are hopefully a good start in getting me to win. It'd be really good if I held them all the right way round, but we can just pretend they are. Yeah, hopefully this is gonna be a good start. I don't know how many pages are here, but this, if I read all of these, will be the page number of the total will be points, plus an extra 200 for each book completed, and then an extra 1,000 for completing all 10 prompts. So I'm definitely going to do this. Nothing is going to stop me. Hello, it is Editing Chloe hopping in. Apologies if you can hear the awful neighbours outside having a party, but I need to get this update added. So I actually forgot to mention a book, which is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This is the Chloe's Crime Scene Corner this month, and although it is not actually in my TBR, I will be reading it. With the readathon being 10 prompts. I do want to read more than that. This one just didn't fit into my prompts exactly, but I will be doing it because it's the book club read. So if you don't know what Chloe's Crime Scene Corner is, I will link the latest announcement video which announces this book. But this is a gory horror. I believe, I love the chair on the front, I can't lie. And this would work for many prompts. So this would work for, I'm gonna say, the Mystic Grill, featuring a friendship as it's a support group. It would also fit for the cemetery, being a dark cover. I think you could stretch this to covering a thriller if you wanted to read it for Wickery Bridge. But yeah, it will fit a lot of the prompts. I'm just not actually reading it for a prompt. So that is another one on my TBR that I should have mentioned. Let me know if you are taking part in the readathon down below. Obviously, I will know you're signed up because I've seen your sign up form and put you on the spreadsheet. But if you haven't signed up yet, that link will be in the description. You can continue to join after the readathon has started. I'm not going to be too precious about a close off date for that. But hopefully, if you haven't heard of this readathon before, seeing my TBR is hopefully inspiring for you to join. I'm going to stop talking because I'm really waffling in this video and it's annoying me, so it has to be annoying some of you. Thank you for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed. I really hope you take part in the readathon, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.